We're going to do our NFC West
right
draft needs. And for now, we're going to focus on the Rams. We'll do the other three teams after the break. The Rams can't leave the 2025 draft without addressing what, Chris?
Well, I don't.
Welcome into this episode of the Rams Radar. We're going to talk about the draft needs for the Los Angeles Rams, according to Mike Florio and Phil Simms. And I'll leave a link to the video if you don't want me interrupting with my snarky comments in the description below. But I'm going to react to what they're saying here. They have some interesting things to say, stuff I maybe think are maybe a little ill-informed. But anyway, I'll let the video play and then we'll talk about it afterwards. Welcome to the Rams Radar.
I don't think you need to look at like offense and look at anything desperate. That's one thing you can look at. They might need some guys to look for the future or anything there, but their offensive line, receivers are pretty good. Right? They could maybe add the one guy to the group, but running back special. So
I just think to point out, he said pretty good to a wide receiving room that includes Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. Just saying.
I don't look at it there. I think it's defense we're looking at all the way here when it comes to the Rams. And there's two positions that jump out to me on the defensive side of the ball.
And I'll just say that to finish off the wide receiving thing, plus, I think the Rams really like what they have in Jordan Whittington. I think that this wide receiving core is maybe even a little slightly underrated. It's probably not getting enough hype. Puka Nacua never gets the recognition he deserves as one of the best wide receivers in football right now. Devontae Adams, his resume speaks for itself. It's so good they felt comfortable enough moving off of Cooper Kupp and just realizing what they have in Jordan Whittington, who played well, especially towards the end of the year. Last year, they have Xavier Smith in there. Wouldn't shock me if they do draft a wide receiver. But anyway, that's my thoughts.
One is corner, right? Not that they're bad there, but where they're picking at 26, there could be some elite guys there in the first round and even in the second round where you could definitely bolster that part of your football team. And I don't think anybody looks at the Rams and goes, ooh, the secondary is really special, especially the corner play. That's where I'm really talking about.
That's fair criticism.
The other one, Mike, and I think this is the most pressing need, is middle linebacker. Yeah. Somebody in the middle of the field to be that guy that runs around doing blitzing, running sideline to sideline, doing all that. And at 26, that could be there. Could the kid from Alabama, Jihad Campbell, be on the board there at 26? If he is, I would bet you they would take him. He's that special of a football player. But I think I look at that as linebacker and corner as the two spots that are most pressing for the Rams.
Interesting take, Phil Simms. I don't see the Rams, unless it's a player they really like, if they stay at 26, I don't see them taking a linebacker or corner. I think that this Rams organization believes in their coaching staff. They like developing players on defense. I've been in the camp. I think there's a very good chance they trade up to get one of these big tight ends. I think that, especially at the linebacker position, I don't disagree that the Rams need a middle linebacker, but I just think that it's not a position that they've prioritized. I think that they've drafted and developed capable linebackers. If they had a great middle linebacker in Ernest Jones, and again, one of the greatest mysteries ever of what happened with Ernest Jones in regards to the Rams. They didn't re-sign him. They let him walk. He went to the Seahawks, unfortunately. So yeah, I do not see them investing high draft capital in a linebacker. I just don't see that.
Mike.
I don't think you can go wrong if you would add an offensive lineman, get a little depth, improve the ability to protect Matthew Stafford, who at any given moment has 17 injuries that he's kept to himself.
Snarky
but
comment.
The defensive backfield, I think corner, I agree with you there. They lost Christian Roseboom in free agency, so it does create a needed inside linebacker. So I think they're
pretty set up.
They don't have a lot of needs.
Exactly right.
They're in pretty damn good shape entering 2025. All right.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Mike Florio.
Thanks, Mike and Phil. Yeah, so they agree. The Rams are in pretty good shape. And there is. If you look at this roster, they are in good shape. There is a lot to like about the Los Angeles Rams this year. I think that they're going to be a Super Bowl contending team. But if they could get a good draft class. One more good draft class. This team could be a juggernaut, baby. I'm here for it. I specifically really think that the Rams' approach early in this draft is going to be best player available. What players can they draft that can help them take this team to another level? That's one of the beauty of the draft is you can find college talent that's ready for the big times, ready to be an elite player. And I think that's what the Rams are doing, right? I don't see this as a draft that the Rams have a lot of young players that they've drafted over the past 2-3 drafts that are contributing at a high level. They've hit on a lot of picks, and if they can hit on a couple more picks this year early, I could really see it happening. There was the clip about Sean McVay. He was at the owners meeting for the annual meeting, and he said that they haven't spent a lot of time looking at this year's rookie class of quarterbacks. I don't think that's true. I don't know if they've looked at the top end, but I definitely could see them taking a quarterback later in the draft to compete with Stetson Bennett for that third string position, and maybe they move off of Stetson Bennett. Who knows? I definitely think that linebacker and corner is a need for the Rams in the draft, but I think it's something that they're content getting talent in 3rd, 4th, 5th round, somewhere in there, and just drafting and developing, right? They do have veteran corners. I know Phil Simms says, the Rams secondary is nothing special, but I think that the Rams are more excited about developing their corners that they do have on their roster than trying to go and find someone who's unproven, right? So that's why I don't see them drafting a corner with that 26 overall pick. I think that if they stay there, it would probably be offensive line depth, maybe a linebacker if there's someone they like there. But I personally have from this regime of Rams drafting, I don't see it. I don't see them going corner or linebacker early, despite what some people might think that those are their greatest needs. I just think that they either trade up to get one of these big tight ends that can be a difference maker in the offense, or they get a tackle for depth, or if they potentially trade out. Who knows? Anyway, let me know your thoughts on the Rams draft needs below. Do you think Chris Simms and Mike Florio got the Rams peg? They say that they're looking pretty good. And I tend to agree with them. As always, go Rams, horns up, and peace out. Let's go Rams. Woo! Thanks for watching, everyone. And if you're still here watching and you enjoyed the content, check out some of my other videos. I had this really fun one talking about Matthew Stafford and the career highlights that he can have coming up in this 2025 season. He's chasing some really impressive numbers and records, and it's going to be fun to track him as he goes about this, this amazing year that could be for Matthew Stafford. Anyway, that's all for me. See you in the next one.